We are following breaking news. First at 4, the new details. We have just learned about a small plane crash in Corfu. Plus, a tweet that lit up social media in the middle of the night. President Donald Trump shares he and First Lady Melania tested positive for coronavirus. We will have live team coverage and reaction from state and local leaders. And what happens next? We sit down with a political analyst to talk about the challenges this could pose for the future of his campaign, with only a month left until Election Day. And health risk. Why doctors say President Trump's age and weight might cause COVID complications. Well, right now at 4, we are following developing news that President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for COVID-19. The president made that announcement on Twitter overnight. The first couple was tested after one of the president's closest advisors, Hope Hicks, tested positive. The White House says the president and First Lady both have mild symptoms. Now, we'll get to that more in just a couple of minutes. But first, right now, we want to get to some breaking news right here in Western New York. A source tells us a plane that crashed a few hours ago in Genesee County belongs to prominent attorney Steve Barnes. Our News 4's Erica Brecker is at the scene right now working to find out what happened and who was on board. Erica.
Christy, our newest information right now is that just minutes ago, the sheriff confirmed that there is one male and one female victim, so a total of 2 people. And the sheriff says he does not believe there are any other people nor any survivors. Again, that is the preliminary information: 2 victims, 1 male, 1 female. Now, this happened several hours ago, but still right now there is a heavy first responder presence on scene here in Corfu with the Genesee County Sheriff's Office, local fire departments, and more. The work still being done is concentrated at the back of a field at the edge of the woods, because apparently it's in that wooded area, which is between routes 5 and route 33, where the plane crashed. What we've learned is that late this morning, a small plane called a Cicada TBM 700 left from New Hampshire, headed for Buffalo. The plane never made it, crashing here in Corfu between 11 and noon. Now, the plane is registered to the same address as Celino and Barnes' Main Street Buffalo office, but a credible source tells us the plane is owned by personal injury attorney Steve Barnes, who is also a certified pilot. We want to stress, though, we do not know who was flying the plane, who was on board right now. We have not confirmed any of that, only that there is 1 male and 1 female victim. Here is what the sheriff had to say about the debris field left behind.
Well, the debris field is quite large. It's a very wooded area. There is a trail that goes through there that you could probably fit a ATV down or a UTV. But like I say, it's heavily wooded. There is quite a crater that's been into the ground. Pieces of airplane and aircraft spread for hundreds of yards.
Boyce Road is the road that goes closest here in Corfu to the site of the plane crash. That is currently closed on both ends of it at Route 5 and Route 33. So this is about as close as we can get to it. You might be able to see a little bit of the scene just over my left shoulder here. Again, that scene, first responders still in the area, still surveying the site of the crash in that wooded area. The sheriff tells us that they will be on scene all night and expect the NTSB to be here to investigate the crash tomorrow. For now, reporting live in Corfu, Erica Brecker, News 4.
All right, Erica, very important information, a big update. We appreciate it. And of course, we will continue to follow the very latest on this very developing story on air. Also on our website, it is WIVB.com. All right, turning back to the president and First Lady Melania Trump testing positive for COVID-19. The couple is in quarantine right now at the White House, and their 14-year-old son, Barron, has tested negative. Deborah Alfarone has that story.
White House officials say President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump are in good spirits despite displaying mild symptoms hours after testing positive for COVID-19.
He is hard at work. We're having to slow him down a little bit.
I'm optimistic that he'll have a very quick and speedy recovery.
The diagnosis came after one of the president's closest aides, Hope Hicks, tested positive for the virus Wednesday. That's when she began exhibiting symptoms. The chief of staff confirmed the White House had been notified of Hicks' status before the president left for a fundraiser at his New Jersey golf club Thursday.
White House operations made the assessment it was safe for the president in consultation with others.
Notably, the president kept his distance from reporters during that trip. The president's diagnosis has sidelined him from the campaign trail with only about a month left until Election Day. Meanwhile, the White House says contact tracing efforts are underway for anyone who's come in close contact with White House staff. Vice President Mike Pence's office announced he has tested negative. President Trump's daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner say they've also tested negative.
As this virus continues to go on, other people in the White House will certainly have a positive test result, and we've got the mitigation plan in place.
2020 Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is campaigning in Michigan after he and his wife Jill announced negative test results Friday. The Bidens were tested due to their proximity to the First Family at Tuesday's debate. In a statement, they sent well wishes to the president and First Lady. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Well, in the meantime, President Trump's Supreme Court nominee tested negative for coronavirus. A White House spokesperson says Barrett is tested every day and is following CDC guidelines. The spokesperson went on to say they plan to move forward with her confirmation process. And we are also continuing to get reaction to the president's announcement. Governor Andrew Cuomo wished President Trump and First Lady Melania a full and speedy recovery during a call with reporters today. The governor says this is proof that no one is immune to COVID, and it also shows just how quickly the virus can spread.
This is an insidious enemy that we're facing. And I think it drives home to everyone the message, take this seriously.
Governor Cuomo also reminded everyone to wear a mask and to look out for each other. And Representative Tom Reed and U.S. Secretary of Treasury Steven Mnuchin also extended their thoughts and their prayers to the president and First Lady today. The two had a pre-planned conversation via Zoom this morning to talk about the COVID's impact on manufacturing. They both commented on the president's positive results.
I just wanted to first start by just taking a moment to recognize the news of the day and extend to you and to the entire Trump administration, to the president and to Melania, our thoughts and prayers, given the diagnosis being COVID-19 positive, that I know he's going to and she's going to get through this virus in a strong and sound fashion.
Mnuchin tested negative today, and he says he will speak to the president later today as well. Well, the stunning news raises uncertainty now about the presidential race. Our News 4's George Ricker got some analysis from both sides of the political aisle.
Well, it is now 32 days before Election Day, and this brings up a lot of questions about how this will affect the final 4 weeks of the campaign. Now, regardless of whether or not the president develops severe symptoms or not, it may delay or eliminate plans for another debate. I spoke with a political analyst with Democratic convictions and one with Republican convictions, and both agree that President Trump would have more to lose than Joe Biden if there were no more debates.
I think that hurts Trump more because historically incumbent presidents tend to have their worst debates on the first one, and they get stronger as the debates go on.
So if there are no more debates, let's say there are no more, I think Biden benefits from that. I think right now he's sort of in the driver's seat. It's by no means over. This race, 4.5 weeks is a long time. And by the way, George, if there is another debate, it may be where the candidates are literally not only in different rooms, they may be in different cities.
We will also get some constitutional perspective about all this from a UB law professor coming up at 5. George Rickert, News 4.
Well, according to CDC risk factors, President Trump is at an increased risk for severe complications from COVID-19. The CDC says 8 out of 10 COVID-19 related deaths in the U.S. have been among adults age 65 and older, and the president is 74 years old. The White House physician said in June that the president remains healthy. His most recent physical exam showed he is 6'3" and he weighs 244 pounds. That's a body mass index of more than 30, which is considered obese. A doctor for Kaleida Health says he is not surprised the president tested positive because of his age and also because of the number of rallies he's held all across the country.
It's being close to other people without face covering. So, the bigger the crowd that you're in, the more yelling that people are doing, singing, all of these things that may project particles from your throat and the back of your nose down into your throat out into the environment are the things that really correlate with getting an infection.
Well, doctors say gender may also put the president at a higher risk. Some studies show men are more likely to die from COVID-19 than women. And of course, stay with News 4 on air and also online at WIVB.com for the very latest developments out of the White House today. You can also download our News 4 app. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting the Bills-Titans game next week could be in jeopardy if more players in Tennessee test positive for COVID-19. Now, Schefter reports 7 players and 6 other members of the organization now have the virus. Their game against Pittsburgh is postponed this week. It will be played later this season. Now, the Bills are set to play in Tennessee next Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're following more breaking news just into our newsroom this afternoon. New York Attorney General Letitia James is announcing criminal charges will not be filed in the death of India Cummings. The 27-year-old woman died at Buffalo General in 2016 after she spent time at the Erie County Holding Center. The Attorney General says after a nearly 2-year investigation, her office found Cummings' death could not be attributed to anyone who was caring for her when she was in the holding center. James went on to call Cummings' death, quote, a terrible tragedy. And also, Jamestown police need your help this afternoon finding a missing 3-year-old. Take a look at your screen right now. Matt Brown was just last seen just after 2 o'clock today on East 2nd Street. Police say he has a scratch on his lower back and he isn't wearing any shoes. His mom lives in Jamestown and his dad lives in Frewsburg. Anyone with information is asked to call police. And also breaking this afternoon, Rochester's mayor is facing charges related to her 2017 re-election campaign. The Monroe County District Attorney announced the indictment of Mayor Lovely Warren today. The DA offered little details, but says the investigation is focused on the raising of hundreds of thousands of dollars between November 2013 and November 2017. Warren is charged with scheme to defraud and violation of election law. She faces up to 4 years in prison if convicted. Well, coming up next on News 4, local leaders who tested positive for COVID-19 share with us how the virus impacts people in power. Plus, for the fans, Heather Prusak and I will get you up to speed on the big 4 talking points for the Bills this week. All right, we are continuing to follow breaking news out of Genesee County this afternoon. A small plane crashed in the woods near Pembroke earlier today. This is video of that scene. The sheriff there says 2 people were on board, a man and a woman. He says neither survived. And a source tells News 4 the plane was owned by prominent attorney Steve Barnes. A source also says Barnes was on that plane. We, of course, will continue to update you on this story throughout the night as soon as we get more information. Well, local leaders continue to send their well wishes to President Trump and First Lady Melania after they tested positive for COVID-19. Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown tweeted, "No one is immune to COVID-19. We must remain vigilant, continue to wear masks, wash our hands, and practice safe physical distancing to protect ourselves and our community." He also wished the president and the First Lady a complete recovery. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz also wished the president and First Lady a speedy recovery on Twitter. He says this is another example of how the virus can strike anyone and also that no one is immune. And other local leaders who have tested positive for COVID-19 in the past are also keeping the president and the First Lady in their thoughts. News 4's Marlene Tuscas spoke with them about the virus and how it can impact people in power.
Western New York leaders who have battled against COVID-19 have some advice for the president and First Lady. Take care of yourself. Buffalo Common Council President Darius Pridgeon tested positive for coronavirus back in March. He says while he was able to mostly work through it, there were some days worse than others that he realized he had to take a step back and care for himself. Pridgeon says during a very partisan time, he's hoping people will put politics aside right now in this fight against COVID-19.
At this point, I think that people have to separate politics from human life. I don't have any concerns about the election and the coronavirus. I think that most people have made their decision of who they're going to vote for.
Pridgen went on to say this should be a wake-up call for everyone to take precautions and be safe in order to prevent further spread of COVID-19. Coming up on News 4 at 5, we have an update on how one local leader is doing nearly 7 months after he tested positive for COVID-19. In Buffalo, Marley Tuskus, News 4.
Now your forewarned weather forecast, certified Buffalo's most accurate.
All right, let's take a live look over downtown Buffalo on your Friday afternoon. It is gloomy out there right now. We also saw some rain just a little while ago in some areas as well. Let's check in our chief meteorologist, Todd Santos, for a first look at this. And Todd, it just kind of seems like one of those days where it's kind of a little bit of everything we've seen.
It really has been, and I think a lot of folks are now getting kind of rain fatigue. I don't blame you. We still have this cold air aloft above the lake, so tonight we're going to continue to deal with some lake effect rain showers, though this weekend high pressure is going to work its way in, and that should kind of limit any rain coverage. We may still find a little patch of drizzle here and there, and I'll talk about it coming up, but I don't expect to see what we've been dealing with for days now. So here's a look at least the satellite and radar on the wider view. And, you know, compared to what it's looked like the last couple of days, we still have some showers and there's still some pockets here and there of heavier rain, but it's not quite what it had looked like, especially down to the south of the lake. So this is mostly now tapping into actually just lake moisture. And you have some of this working its way across into eastern Lake Erie. We still have some showers that are forming over the lake. Some of these actually developed as they rolled towards Dunkirk over the eastern edge of Lake Erie. And there are a couple behind me that have been trying to get going over the last couple of hours, last hour or so, just south of Long Point. So we're still seeing some of this develop. Into the afternoon, certainly this started to shift a little closer toward Buffalo, and we'll deal with these for the evening commute. There will be some localized downpours, so something to keep in mind in the short term. Now, for tonight, we'll still find some of these. And an isolated thunderstorm like that one right here that's rolled towards Dunkirk did produce lightning just about 15 minutes ago as it rolled towards Dunkirk itself. So don't rule that out, even that one near Evans. But as far as coverage is concerned, you'll still see pretty good coverage. There's 8 p.m. tonight, cool temperatures once again, leading into early tomorrow morning. Once you get to about 7, 8 in the morning, this backs off to a little patch of light drizzle here and there. Now, any additional lake effect for Saturday is going to have to fight that area of high pressure. And I do think there will be room for a few little areas of spotty drizzle in the hills, but it's going to be more than anything lake cloudiness. So outside of those clouds, you'll actually see some bright sunshine at times. You may see a few dark clouds here and there. I don't think they'll all produce rain. I do think there may be another narrow window Saturday evening, especially up into Buffalo, but that's really going to be our next chance. So, you know, at sunrise, you may find a sprinkle in Buffalo. Beyond that, it's in the hills, and the rest of Saturday night and Sunday mostly quiet until you get to Sunday evening. This is as far as this model goes. You see these showers hanging out to the west. Sunday night into Monday, those showers roll in. And I do think we'll see milder temperatures for Sunday as well. So additional rainfall amounts. Of course, it's raining out there right now. I think 80 to 90% of what you're seeing on here is going to actually fall tonight into early tomorrow morning. And then once we get past 9 a.m. tomorrow, I don't expect to find much of anything else. I mean, there may be a tenth here and there, but I think you'll be talking about hundredths of an inch, if at all, even measurable rain. There's a look at temperatures right now. We certainly have a lot of cool areas. We've been dealing with the clouds, dealing with the showers today. I mean, 49 right now in Springville with breeze mostly out of the west. There's a little bit of northwest closer toward Lake Ontario. So there's a look at another cool night, coolest in the southern valleys. That rain coverage in general, and especially the heavier downpours, really should fade out leading into dawn. Tomorrow, daytime highs limited to the 50s. Yes, it's going to be cool, not quite as breezy, and a few little patches of very light drizzle, but I don't expect to find much else. Quiet Sunday until we get to Sunday evening, and much of this rain chance actually is Sunday night into early Monday morning. The rest of Monday I think will be clearing out. Wednesday looks windy with more rain. The middle of next week I do think we'll warm back up just after the 7-day. Christy?
Well, it is time for this week's For the Fans. It's our new segment here on News 4 at 4, where Heather and I keep you in the know with the big four talking points for the Bills this week as we look ahead to this week's game against the Raiders in Las Vegas. And this week we have a lot of COVID talk. So we've got a lot to get to here.
Yeah, unfortunately we do, but it's stuff that you gotta know for this week and even next week.
Absolutely. Let's get you in the know for number one for the fans this week. The big announcement from the Bills this week that there will be no fans in the stands, and they say that's for the foreseeable future. This, of course, was really disappointing for fans, as fans were hoping to be in the stands for the Thursday night game against the Chiefs. That's happening soon. The Bills do say, though, that that's not completely out of the question just yet, but they have to wait to know from the governor, and they're hoping to know that soon. And the governor says that he plans to come to tour our stadium soon to see if we can get fans in safely.
Yeah, and I know that, of course, the team wants fans in the stands because they go to places and they see other fans. And, talking to players and coaches this week, of course, they're disappointed that they're not going to have fans soon. Sean McDermott said, there's nothing more they'd like than to have Bills Mafia back in the stands. But he said he respects the decision, and that's just what they have to go with, because really, what else can they do at this point?
Absolutely. All right, our number two for the fans this week is no fans in Las Vegas either. This is the first time the team is playing in Vegas, and they also won't find fans there.
Nope, no fans there. And this stadium looks absolutely ridiculous. And, so far the Bills have only played in front of fans once this season. That was week 2 in Miami. They've been home the other 2 games. And now they won't see anything in this beautiful stadium there. The Raiders have played there once so far this season. It was a Monday night game against the Saints. Construction started on Allegiant Stadium in November of 2017. And just seeing it on that Monday night game, it looked so cool there. So at least we'll be able to see it on TV. But, of course, nobody in person at that game there as far as a fan perspective.
I like at least the behind-the-scenes video.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
It's really cool.
All right, our number 3 for the fans this week as we look ahead to next week's game against Tennessee. That is now questionable, of course, as the Titans continue to see issues with positive COVID tests on their team and their staff.
Yeah, we already have to talk about week 5 because 2 more Titans players have tested positive for COVID-19. So they're now up to 13 positive cases between players and team personnel members. 7 of those cases were among players. They were supposed to play the Steelers this week, but the league postponed that game. Now they'll play it later in the month on October 25th. But obviously, Christy, this is a real concern for the Bills because they're scheduled to play the Titans in Tennessee next week, and I wouldn't be surprised if that game gets moved as well unless we see a decline in these positive cases with the Titans there. The league is all about team safety right now, so that's exactly why they postponed their Steelers game, and we'll have to monitor and see what happens with the Bills game next week.
Something we'll be keeping a close eye on. Our number 4 for the fans this week. Hey, we all know the team is now 3-0, and that means there's a possibility of looking at going 4-0 this week. Heather, this has not happened for a really, really long time.
Yeah, it's been over a decade. It's been 12 years since the Bills started 4-0 in 2008. That was the last time they started the season this way. And, this would be huge since their schedule doesn't get any easier for the Bills. They've still got the defending Super Bowl champs in a couple weeks. Seattle's on the schedule. Of course, they play the Patriots twice, the 49ers, the runner-ups from last year. They're dealing with a lot of injuries, but still, if any of those guys get healthy, that game's going to be tough. But, oh, by the way, the Bills are still in sole possession of first place in the division at 3-0, while the Patriots are 2-1. So, of course, to rack up any and all wins on the season, that would be huge for them to get yet another one this week against the Raiders. And, of course, we've got a lot more to say about this matchup coming up on Buffalo Kickoff Live this Sunday. Everything you need to know about the Bills and Raiders game. We kick things off at 11 over on the CW, then switch back over here to Channel 4 at 11:30. Can't wait, Christy.
All right, looking forward to it, Heather. Thank you. Coming up next on News 4 for a new place to play. We'll take you to the new Lego store at the Walton Galleria, and we'll share some of the deals that you can get your hands on this weekend.